drug abuse, cancer,
measles, diabetes, AIDS, cancer,
drug abuse, cancer,
measles, diabetes, AIDS, cancer,
drug abuse, cancer,
measles, diabetes, AIDS, cancer,
Good evening once again, folks, and welcome to Doctor on Call. It is Tuesday, and of course, that's our usual Tuesday evening programming. This evening, we have a very special program for you, and of course, my guest, Dr. Sonia Nixon. This evening, we want to focus on International Day of Action for Women's Health. Now, that day will be celebrated on the 28th of this month. That's in a couple of days, 3 days from now. But this evening we're going to focus on that because we think it's very important, considering the very, very important and significant role that our women play in our lives. Yes, so we need to focus on that this evening. Dr. Nixon, I know she's all excited and get up for this evening's program because some time ago she did a wonderful presentation. When I had the opportunity to go through it, and I was like, wow, I need to get her onto the program tonight to deal with this. All right, so let's say welcome to Doc. Good evening and welcome once again.
Good evening, sir, and good evening, Grenada. How is everyone?
Oh, yes, indeed. I think we all fine. We all excited. And Doc, before we start, I've been hearing that we're having some really long lines now of people going to get vaccinated, and I'm elated about that. I am really, really elated. They waited a little long, but nevertheless, I'm happy that the people are getting vaxxed.
I always have a Jamaican saying for that, right?
What's it?
Jamaican say it's never too late for a shower of rain.
Right, well, of course. We can't go wrong with that, So I want to encourage those who've not joined the line yet. You need to do so and protect yourself and those around you. It's very, very important. Don't get caught up with the myth and all the sayings that are bandied about. All right? Be sensible and protect yourselves and those around you. So, Doc, this evening, the topic of our discussion is, I need to get it right, and abundant life for women. And I have to give royalties for that, for using that. All right. I know you wouldn't mind.
I want those royalties, okay?
I know you wouldn't mind. Yeah. Abundant.
That's my intellectual property.
Oh yes, and I'm proud to say that and to give you all the credit for it. So, folks, this evening we're going to talk about that abundant life for our women, and of course, I'm sure you understand when you hear about abundant life, you understand what we're talking about. So, Doc, the 28th International Day of Action for Women's Health, very, very, very important. And of course, I want us to discuss that this evening. Abundant life for women. So that we know that good health or illness are products not only of biology, but also of social, cultural, economic, and political environment in which we live and act. All right? It is far more than just the absence of illness. And our health, it's affected by various factors. And they include, Doc, all of what you're going to be talking to us about this evening. So, the floor is yours.
I thought I was going to get a whole studio, but we can live with that.
All right.
The truth is, when we talk about women's health, some people probably say, ugh, and roll their eyes. But the truth is, women are different. We're made up differently. We have different roles. And the most important role in a woman's life is childbearing and reproduction. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of sets her apart. But it also puts her into a very special category where she needs a little extra looking after, where she needs a little extra support. Because at the same time, she's giving the normal thing, work every day, take care of your house, take care of your children, but then she's still the one who bears. Now, we talk about also the World Health Organization has a definition of health, being well physically, mentally, emotionally, blah, 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 but not financially, economically is also included there, okay? And not just and your security also comes in that, right? Not just not just the absence of
illness.
Of illness.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because you can't have an illness and be well and be healthy. You can have high blood pressure and be healthy.
Yes.
Because you're taking care of pressure or diabetes, or you can have you can be blind, you can have glaucoma, whatever it is. Once the disease is under control, you're healthy. Right. Mm-hmm. In the case of women, we have to take in the context that women have a different role. That is the role of procreation, of using her body to create a world. And we know that it depends on where she lives. So a woman in Grenada knows that should know. If I get pregnant, regardless of what age I am, I can walk into a health center and be afforded antenatal health care, right? And have the right amount of health care, the amount of visits that I need. The World Health Organization, at least the Cubans ask you to have at least 12 visits. You shouldn't turn up to the doctor where you're really, Lord, I can't stand up anymore because my back opening. You really should go from your miss a period, okay? And there are facilities that people are trained. You have midwives, you have obstetricians, you have nurses who can give basic antenatal care. You have special clinic for a woman to go when she's pregnant. So we know that. Our girls get all their vaccines, they go to school, they get good nutrition, everything. So whatever amenities exist for people, exist for women as well as for men, but women still have that added role, that added stress, which can determine. I want us to take our minds out of the context of just Grenada, and remember there's a world of women, and that's why we're having encounters like this. If you lived in probably a rural part of India, I'm just saying, okay, or China, or the Middle East, or some parts of Africa, women tend to be the ones who run the household from a laborious standpoint. Men will go out and be shepherds, they go out and get other jobs, but the women have to take care of the household. Yeah, they have to plant the ground, they have to reap, they have to draw water, they have to do a lot of other stuff, right? Walk 5 miles with the babies for the babies on the back to get their inoculations, etc. It's different. Girls in some societies are not offered. They're not the ones who are chosen first to go to school. You remember Malala from Pakistan who was shot in her head? Remember?
Yes.
How much she struggled to ensure that girls can go to school, right? Because they did not like her because she was studying. Her parents thought that education was important. But in some environments, that's not. A woman who's uneducated is unable to understand that I must go for my antenatal care, that I must take care of myself before I become pregnant, that I must ensure that I breastfeed my baby, that I must ensure that my children get their inoculations, that I must ensure that my husband gets his prostate test, that I must ensure that food is balanced. Or She just may not just have the time because she's involved in such hard and laborious work that is not designed for women to carry. Working in quarries, doing hard work, working the land all the time, using archaic tools to build and to dig and to plant and to reap and to carry big load on her head, okay, while carrying children. And we've seen it. Women carrying 2 children on them, load on the head, and the man walking with a hoe on his shoulder. Right? So the woman's role is very important, and hence we have to, as I say, let's open our mind and see beyond Grenada. Hence the reason why it is so important to focus on the issues of women's health. Okay? You did mention some stuff. Good health and illness are not just product of your biology. So it's not that she gets pregnant, so she might develop hypertension in pregnancy. She may be under so much stress that she might develop hypertension, so much hard work, so much poor nutrition, right, that she might develop osteoporosis earlier. She might live in an environment where, so what? It's easy to beat your wife because I don't like that extra grain of salt in it, right? So those are the things that are going to affect her. So she might be subject to physical abuse or sexual abuse or whatever gender-based violence may be used as a tool against her to control her. She may not be able to say a word. Health worker comes around and she can't go to the clinic because the boss in the house said, you can't go. I need you to go dig up the yam and the potatoes for me to carry to market the following day. So those are the issues. But then again, she may not be working and may not be able to have the $2.50 to come from the country to get her, to go to the specialty clinic. Right? Or the $5 that it costs for her to come because she's pregnant, but she needs to see the obstetrician. Her nurse can no longer take care of her. Does she have that economic power, right? Does she have that economic power to determine that her girl is not going to be uneducated and unprepared to deal with her well-being, right? Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. And a girl falls into the same vicious cycles, right? Right. It's an environment the social environment in particular, one where because generationally certain practices have occurred, is that woman empowered to break those generational practices in favor of her well-being? So, or her child's well-being. The child has a respiratory problem. And yes, we know that herbal medicines and community traditional medicines help, but sometimes we misdiagnose, and the child, in fact, needs to go see a doctor, right? So, is our women empowered to be in control of their lives as reproductive agents, and are they taken care of as reproductive agents in our society? So, those are some of the things we have to consider. How we live. Do I live where there's running water? Do I live where there's a partner, or does my partner have several other partners that I have to accept, right? Does he bring what is required for me to run my household if I can't go to work, or am I allowed to go to work, right? Do I get sufficient sleep? Is the job I'm doing, can I manage? Some women can do hard work. Some of us, we wake up differently. I don't know that I can break stone for a living. Maybe if I had to, I would, right? But I don't really want to have to do that. I don't even want to have to sit down in the sun and sell something by the market, right? What if I had a special talent? Would I be allowed to do this? And that talent can bring me money. So all of those things. And those things, above all, create stressors when women are not allowed to do the things that they're capable of doing so that their families can live. When they're not allowed to access what is good for them so that their lives can be healthy, all right? The people with whom we choose or we have to interact, are those people in our communities supportive of women and their needs? Okay? Do they encourage education? Do they encourage good, healthy habits? Do they encourage healthy friendships? Right? Do they support women who are abused, or do they abuse women? Okay? Do they ensure that benefits reach them, or do they not prepare? Because you're a woman, you can wait, right? Those are some of the challenges. And, just how profound or how slack those relationships are. Does your partner recognize you as being valuable in a situation? Does your teacher recognize you as a girl, right? As having a right to be healthy, having a right to feel safe, having a right to have good nutrition, right? When you do go to school, is it okay? Is it okay in the school environment that you have meals, that you can study, you can choose whatever subjects you want, or they send you domestic science, even if you could be the best math student? Okay, so those are the things that will decide how a woman will, how their health is affected based on how they're allowed to develop, how the society looks out for them, how other people envisions them and take care of them, whether there's policy that ensures that our women are healthy and that they're well. Okay.
Doc, I like how you've made that connection. Because generally, as you said in the beginning, when we speak of health, our mind takes us straight to the biological aspect of things. But here you've connected the social, the economic, the cultural, and the political atmospheres. And show how that can actually affect a woman's health, and of course, it is so important because of the role that we've cited here that our women play. But I want us to go a little deeper. Let's start with the social aspect of it. So you live in a community, you live in a society. There are different types of people. You come across different types of things in your community. How can some of those factors seriously impact a woman's health? And let us go deeper into how these factors can affect her biologically and create serious problems for her. And we can also try and make the connection to biological issues, for example, hypertension, diabetes, and some of these chronic conditions.
So I want to be a little practical.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot of talk about gender-based violence, right? Mm-hmm. And gender-based violence is always talks about violence against women. I want us to recognize that gender-based violence is not necessarily only against women, because I know there are men who are abused emotionally and physically and otherwise. But let's take, for the purposes of tonight's program, we're going to talk about gender-based violence towards women. So, I worked as a GP for a long time before I went off to school to do public health. And I actually did global health. And one of the areas I looked at was, I just sat in this class. Because I was in a school, I just sat in a class. It wasn't a class I'd signed up for, but I can do the class without having to pay because I was a student, called gender-based violence.
Right.
Okay. And one of the alarming things was how women's health was affected in the face of gender-based violence. And one of the most predominant symptoms was pain. Unspecified pain for which you could find no explanation. Okay? Pain. So abdominal pain, headache, backache, and it depends on how the violence went, right? So especially abdominal pain, my belly, the bottom of my belly hurting me. Maybe this is a woman whose partner physically, raped her, on an ongoing basis, or her partners, because how we tend to align ourselves and we go from one to the other, unfortunately, expecting some understanding, and the cycle just comes on because you may be living in the same environment where the men are socialized the same way. And I want men to understand, I'm not bashing men, I'm just speaking of realities, okay? Mm-hmm. And this is probably a good time for a lot of us to introspect, to look and see, what's going on here, right? Because sometimes we don't understand simple means of violence. How you're so stupid. You're just like your mother. All your family, you and all your sister and them is the same thing. Don't answer me before I box you down. Okay? Look at you. You're so ugly. You're so black. You're this, you're that. Right? So what? You understand? As the man, I can do whatever I want. Those are violent acts against women. Just speaking to them in the wrong way. I'm not giving you any money, right? You think I work hard for my money to just come and put it in your hand and just home doing nothing when you spend your home taking care of 6 children and his dirty clothes? Okay, so this is a woman who would come to you and tells you she has pain, but her pain is she perceives that physical often, but it's not necessarily physical pain, and she has chronic pain. That's an unwell person. If you're having pain every day, that you can be well if you're in pain every day, right? But who often does not get diagnosed because we forget that social component. Where do you live? Who do you live with? Are you married? How many children do you have? Do you have, are you working? Do you live in your house? Is there running water? So you have to go down to the river and wash 2 basins of clothes every day because you have 6 children. But you also must keep the house clean, keep it safe, take care of the 3 little children that's in the house, cook food, get wood to put on the fireside because you ain't buying no stove, and all of those things, okay? So there is the emotional pain, there's a psychological pain, and sometimes you get hit, and then you get physically abused. So there are issues. Women's health issues are different. You have to delve into it. If you went into a hospital in some cities, they go into the ER, they actually do screening for violence. Because often it helps the doctors in making more precise, especially when women have very vague symptoms, right? It helps the doctors to make stuff. And so the environment in which you live in, probably, even if you lived in Manhattan, in a high rise, you may also be an abused woman. Yeah, you dress nice and you have all the jewelry, right? And I remember the case of a woman who murdered her bank executive husband somewhere in the Caribbean several years ago. And she'd always be the best dressed person at the senior bank official's cocktail party. Expensive jewelry. He was abusive. And she killed him and rolled him. I'm not giving anybody any ideas. Let's get that very clear. But it had become overbearing for her, the amount of abuse she suffered, the verbal abuse, the physical abuse, right? She became mentally ill, didn't she? A mental illness is a real thing, right? Her physical, she just couldn't take it anymore. The physical beatings, the embarrassment when you get home. Yet when you go out, you had a candy on his arm that you walked around. Women's health situation is quite complex and has to be viewed within a gender context. When a woman is healthy, right? She feels good, she's relaxed, she feels nice, she's productive. So she can cook callaloo soup today that tastes real good with pigtail, and tomorrow she puts saltfish and it's just wonderful. Or she decides, I'm gonna put maybe some pak choy in here. I'm just these guys, I don't know about this, okay? I'm just all right? And even if there's nothing to cook in the house, she's gonna find something to make everybody happy because she's happy. She becomes productive. She says, you know something, let me go and plan that better pak choy I wanted to do for the last few weeks, because in 6 weeks' time, I'm going to have this put on my table. She gets productive. She finds a little job. She learns to sew. She does stuff because she's well taken care of. And she feels useful. She feels, I'm of benefit to my family. I'm of benefit to my partner. I'm of benefit to my workplace, right? The lady I work for as a housekeeper, comes home and she's happy because she treats me well, my husband treats me well, everybody treats me well. I really feel good. I go, I do my laundry, on laundry day, laundry is done, house is clean, everything is fine. I'm able to be productive. I can create, I can make things new, I can make things beautiful again, right? And she's also living a healthy life. You know, she can go out and go for a walk in the evening. She can go on the beach on the weekend. She can be active, go for exercise. She makes her surroundings pleasant. She planted a garden. She makes sure that where she lives is a nice place. And also, she's in that place where they have supportive relationships, right? So those are the things that are going to influence. So if she's happy and something goes wrong, because life will go wrong at times, but she can go to her neighbor and say, boy, Sonia, you know, I know the money thing not happening. This coronavirus have us under pressure. And I can say, you know what? I tell you what, I'm going to give you some okra seeds and some callaloo plant, some dasheen head to plant, and this and that. Take that little space up in the top, take water from my pipe, and we don't have running water. Every so often you can use a little water from my pipe and water. Those are the things, right? Her sisters-in-law come, her mother-in-law likes her, her children like her, right? Or even if she's a girl, she's happy in school, she doesn't feel abused and objectified by the guys who in school, right? She doesn't feel bullied by anybody. A small girl, she doesn't feel bullied. She feels that my teacher wants me to learn. Those are the things that influence a positive, healthy environment for our girls and women.
Doc, let's take a commercial break. We're going to come right back. Stay with us, folks. Don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss a thing. All right?
Welcome everyone to tonight's Super 6 draw for today, Tuesday, 25th May, 2021. My name is Nakian Hippolyte. Super 6 is a multi-jurisdictional game owned by Winlot Inc. and played in the islands of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dominica, Grenada, and St. Lucia. The Super 6 jackpot now stands at $220,000. We will now select your free ticket letter. Good luck. Ticket letter is A. Stay tuned for your winning numbers.
More jackpot money, more reasons to play this game. More money for way. Super 6 a bigger jackpot game.
Now you love Super 6 even more. With more money,
the jackpot galore. Play more, win more, have more fun.
With more jackpot money,
Super 6 is my number one.
With the new and improved Super 6 game, the jackpot keep growing and growing
and growing.
More jackpot money, more reasons to play this game. More money for way. Super 6 a bigger jackpot game. Super 6, bigger jackpots, more chances to win.
And now for your winning numbers. Good luck. The first number is 22. The second number is 15. The third number is 14. The fourth number is 1. The fifth number is 11. And the final winning number is 9. Once again, your winning numbers are 22, 15, 14, 1, 11, and 9. The free ticket letter is A. Tonight's winning numbers were drawn under the supervision of an auditor from BDO. Please contact your relevant Central Lottery office for further information on the payment of prizes. Thanks for playing, and remember, with Super 6, there are bigger jackpots and more chances to win. Join us for our next Super 6 draw on Friday, 28th May, 2021. Until next time, I'm your hostess, Nakian Hippolyte, wishing you an amazing evening.
Valley Pharmacy offers both wholesale and retail pharmaceutical and over-the-counter products. We have the most competitive and affordable prices. We are the agents for Vit Plus multivitamin for healthy everyday lifestyle and Sanatogen powder. Hills and Valley Pharmacy supplies the best quality, name brand clinical products such as Rescue Oil, Bio Oil, Neutrogena, Aveeno, and Clarisil. We offer the most convenient opening hours. Our telephone numbers are 435-6904 or 6903. Remember, at Hills and Valley Pharmacy, your health is our business. We care.
Now open, Hills & Valley Medicare Center, your one-stop for medical supplies, massage therapy, physiotherapy, and an in-house physician. At Hills & Valley, your health is our business.
We support you at every stage of your life.
For business.
For your education.
For your financial freedom.
For that new ride.
Upgrade your life with the Communal. Contact us today.
Welcome back, folks. It's Dr. on Call, and just in case you joined us a little late, this evening we focusing a lot on women's health. Of course, coming up on the 28th of this month is International Day of Action for Women's Health. This evening with us, Dr. Sonia Nixon, no stranger to our program. Of course, she's always here with us, giving of her time and sharing great information with us as it relates to our health. So we want to focus now on why should we focus on women's health. Now, we should also know that illness has a social dimension and a biological cause. We also need to address the impact of gender relations on health and the different social realities of men and women. The experiences of health and their health needs must also be different, and they're influenced by socio-economic status and, of course, among other things. What about our women in Grenada? So, Doc, let's focus there, because it's important, and we need to focus a lot on our women. I know there are lots of them listening, and we need them to understand why it's important for them. Should also take special care and to pay very close attention to what is happening to their life, because, as we stated earlier, there are a number of factors within their life that can affect their health: social, economic, cultural, political, and so on and so forth. So why focus on women's health, Doc?
Because there are issues that women are going to have problems. One, because they're women. We talked about that. How they're designed biologically. They're going to have children. So you have a greater risk of dying in childbirth. A man can't die in childbirth, right? You have a greater risk of developing diabetes during pregnancy. You have a greater risk of developing hypertension in pregnancy, and those are both, hypertension in pregnancy can actually kill you. Mm-hmm. Women with eclampsia, you can die. But you also still have the other social determinants affecting your well-being. The education.
Right.
So I'm going to put it into context for Grenadians. And we kind of spoke a little about it in the first session. So our women in Grenada do have access to education, don't they? Probably
Yes.
equal access for most part. I think we've managed to surpass that girls can go to school. We even allow girls to go back to school after they've had a baby, if they have a baby in adolescence. So that's a good thing. That's really ensuring that there's education. There probably still have families who don't understand that a girl needs to achieve her maximum potential. It's not necessarily academic, but what develops your brain to be able to work in the society. So I'm just asking people to sit and listen, who are listening, to think. Am I allowing my wife, my daughter, my granddaughter, my niece, my nephew, whoever it is I live with, my niece, whoever I live with, to maximize the fullest of her potential, right? That is what education is mostly about. How am I able to develop myself, especially to make me a worthwhile citizen? How can I impact the economics? So if a girl has malnutrition, for example, if we don't feed our girls properly, they're going to develop malnutrition, and they're going to have obesity. So education is going to be directly related to whether or not our children is one of the social determinants, right? Whether or not our girls develop nutrition. Whether education is going to determine whether her mother works and can give her a father, and they work and they understand and can ensure that this child is healthy, right? That's where do they live? Do they have running water, right? Are they prone to getting mosquito bites and getting dengue? Those are things. Dengue is an illness that people will get. Does this girl have self-esteem issues? So when she gets to school, she's bullied because of where she lives, because of the lifestyle of her family. Does she go to school every day? Even if there's no reason why she shouldn't, do her parents find it necessary for her to go to school every day? What kind of job is she going to have? Is she going to repeat the cycle of having a whole lot of children because she becomes dependent on a gentleman to take care of her, right? Because she's not able. So we have to think about, am I breaking the cycle that poverty and uneducation, are there opportunities for her? Let's say she went to school. She went to a skills building school. After she had gone to that, what are the opportunities for her to be able to take care of herself? If she's in the Imani program, does she, after 3-4 years, have a skill that puts her in a different place? Or at least, is she developing something about her life that puts her on a path to be independent and to be able to take care of her children and surpass, be in a better place than her mother and her grandmother were? Okay? Does she understand that in order for me to have children, healthy children, I must be a healthy woman? Because this is a cycle, okay? You can't ask a woman who's not healthy, who has anemia all her life, because she's been giving all the food to the children and eat the little piece of yam and the little butter that remain for herself, while the children get the little bit of chicken back or the egg or whatever she gives as a protein source and she doesn't get, right? She has anemia also probably because she has all these children. She probably live in a country, work on the land, have worms, parasites, whatever it is. So her whole nutritional state is poor. She hasn't gone to get her breast examination because she has not had the time to go to the doctor because she's busy doing housework. She has not gone to the doctor because the doctor says you need an ultrasound. You have to go in the hospital or you have to go to the person in town. Or you live in the country but you have to go to the doctor in the town or the parish. She doesn't have that money or the time or the understanding or the will or just the wherewithal or the support. Who's going to babysit her little children if she has to go in a clinic? Right? So those social determinants, like I said, the running water is so very important for how people live. Right? Is she in the hospital every third night because her house is in such a bad state that her little one always has asthma? And she doesn't understand that, well, just get in a space so you can give a child a medication, you can get it from the health center and you can make him well. She doesn't understand. She's undereducated. So those social determinants are very, very important. Okay? Does she feel safe? Does she feel safe? When she's home in the night to the children, does she worry about who's going to come in? That's in a Ghanaian context. Would somebody come in here and rape her girl children? If she lived in Gaza, think about a Gaza mother or a Gaza girl today. I saw a mother wrote a thing on her Facebook page stating that she was going to sleep with her children the night because if they should bomb their apartment, she doesn't want her children to die alone or her to die and leave her children. Those are stresses that women have to go through. Is there an environment, is there an international policy that protects these women, that makes sure, I don't hear anybody saying anything. Some of us, we individuals say anything. I don't hear the big guns. I don't hear the Americans saying anything, and they're Israel's best friends, right? Those are social determinants, right? And we may not, we can demonize the Palestinian population as much as we want, those of us who don't know the whole history. But is it correct that Palestinian girls and women who are indefensive, don't we have a responsibility to protect them so that they can go to school in the morning, mothers can take up their children, they can go to work, those who work, okay? So it's not only with what you can do or cannot do. How does your household, your community, the world allow you to maximize your potential and to stay well? Can women who live in camps, who live in refugee camps, their privacy when they have a period, where everybody live in a big old camp, their privacy when they need to go to the doctor? Are there enough doctors for them to see? Okay, so those are some of the social and biological issues. And women have special needs. They have very special needs. A woman would have a period, she'd get pregnant, she'd have a baby, she'd need to breastfeed. Okay, those are special biological situations that affect only women. Okay, can she teach? Does she have the ability to teach her daughter how to prepare herself for that? Does she know that she needs to be screened for breast cancer and cervical cancer? Are there facilities? Oh, I can go do that. It's free. Okay, but I can't go because who going to take care of my children at home? And when my husband come home with food not ready, he's probably going to cuss and beat me up tonight. Okay?
But you know...
Girls in situations where simple thing as sanitary wear during the menstrual cycle is unavailable. What do I have to do? Stay home, miss school for 4 and 5 days, just because there's nothing to protect their privacy and to support them. Those are things that are specifically related to gender. Okay? The sexual division of labor doesn't always come out fair on the side of women. Like we discussed at it in the beginning, where a lot of women are subjected to work that is way too laborious for how they built biologically. So by the time they get to your age, because I'm younger than you, right? By the time they get into their 40s and 50s, they're old women. And I remember specifically on the cover of National Geographic, you may remember that picture. It was probably in the 80s of this young Afghan girl with green eyes. They took a picture of her standing in front of her door, looking out, and she had these remarkable green eyes. About a decade ago, they went back looking for her. She probably was like 20 years older. She looked like she was 40 years older. The war, the stress of the environment, early marriage, having children, all the uncertainties of living in the environment, she looked aged. And she probably had diseases that were related to aging. So we may be not so bad. We have a small space. We have facilities available. But we still need to know that there are women who are sufficiently marginalized who suffer situations that we can't. I saw a young lady the other day who had been so subjected to physical abuse from childhood, who was having chronic pain, being beaten, physically beaten every day by blood relatives because her mom had abandoned her. And she has 4 girl children, constantly stressed, about their own safety. Okay? Lost her opportunity, was taken out of high school, despite how intelligent she could be. As a matter of fact, she was supposed to go on to prestige school and didn't go. They didn't send her there, and they sent her to a school of less prestige, and still took her out in third form. Those are the social issues. Often in those situations determined by somebody who has the will and the power to do so, but they have taken away her opportunity, because with her getting proper education would have been, she may not have had 4 children because she would have been too busy developing herself, right? She would have been able to take, she couldn't understand why she was having pain, and she thought it was related to her being physically hurt. No, it wasn't. It was because she was more emotionally hurt than anything else. Okay? Are we preparing facilities so that our women who eventually develop lots of mental illness, okay, that they can be treated and supported, right? Women also will develop, are more prone to obesity and diabetes and hypertension, right? So you have to take that within the gender context, okay? They are more prone to those chronic diseases in particular. Women will have breast cancer and cervical cancer. Are there facilities for them to be able to access? And do they know? Are we giving them sufficient information? Are we as healthcare providers going out and reaching out to women so that they can understand? Are we just doing it on TV? Even I don't have a TV, so you understand how that goes, right? Imagine somebody who doesn't really earn. There's no need to have a TV because you can't pay the cable bill. Right? So are we ensuring, because we have to think about it, are we ensuring that we remove all the social determinants that can ensure that our women remain healthy, that they produce healthy children, especially healthy girls, who can continue a cycle of women who are healthy? Okay. We also know, for example, there's certain sexually transmitted diseases that are that occur in women. So, for example, women will get AIDS easier than men. Okay? Women, so it's easier for a man to infect a woman with HIV than the other way around. All right? And that has its physiological basis because the surface of the vaginal wall is so much more ample. There's more space, and there's often little bruising and stuff during intercourse that may occur and cause the transmission of the virus, right? And of course, there are men who think that, you know, how young girls, we've seen, unfortunately, a very unfortunate thing has to do a lot of lack of education, where men think that a virgin will make them heal from the STDs, and so they rape our little girls. Okay, it's a taboo. It's very prevalent in the Caribbean. I didn't realize it was so prevalent so far down because I saw it elsewhere. But here, men still think that if they have sex with a young virgin, even the virgin is 3 months old, right, that they will be cured of the STDs.
But, you know, Doc, you made the point. You know, and the more I listen, you know, it's worrying because a lot of it hinges on lack of basic education, where people. But
it also hinges on policy, because you have to ensure that our girls, and I tell you, we're probably far ahead of a lot of other countries. If you think about sub-Saharan Africa.
No, of course, definitely, right? Definitely.
But we still have our gaps. Okay, we still have why shouldn't a young woman who is learning disabled, right? Why shouldn't she receive just as much health care as a girl who is bright, who going to convent and TAMCC? Okay, why isn't her health a priority when she's even more vulnerable? Because if she gets sexual abuse, she can still get pregnant. How many girls who are learning disabled have had babies for men who we don't know, who never show up because they're not going to accept it, because she's just an object of intercourse and pleasure, right? But isn't she supposed to be protected as well and taken care of? And right, we used to hide our children with disabilities, and we still hide some of them. Okay, why aren't they part of a society that recognizes that I have a greater responsibility to protect them because of their vulnerability, because they can't take care of themselves.
But Doc, how do we protect our women from things like that? How do we teach them to understand, look, if I'm in a situation where I'm vulnerable and a number of issues can affect me in a very serious way, how do I reach out and let someone know? How do I speak to a professional? And all of these things. How do we do that? And why aren't these things done?
You probably need a whole program for that. It's not that isn't being done, because sometimes a woman doesn't understand her own vulnerability because of the environment in which she lives. A woman is expected to be subservient, and she doesn't understand that that's not how it's supposed to go, right? A woman thinks that, I know, especially in some, and with all due respect to the church, in some religious groupings where the pastor tells you, if your husband wants to have intercourse, that's your responsibility to deliver. And then they went just finish wash 3 basin of clothes in the river and cook and dig up the whole coal pit and put all the coals in bag and still keep it and clean, scrub the house, wash all them dirty clothes and come home and still have to cook on the coal pot on the fireside. And then he comes home from his little job. Yes, he might have worked hard as well, but you're tired. I'd probably having a period anyway, which makes you even more tired. Or probably just emotionally just exhausted. You're probably subject to physical abuse that he sees as a game, right? So I think my personal belief is that apart from teaching women, we also have to teach our boys.
Yes.
I think we have to teach our men to understand their responsibility to us because of our differences in gender. Just as how we get up and cook breakfast and clean the house and other things, they have their responsibilities. They have roles that they must play that are gender related. They understand that we would get sick for things that they would not get sick.
But there are a lot of influences, social influences, that it indoctrinates our young people. And takes away from them the reality of what should and what should not happen. And you the fact that you mentioned we to teach our young men, I think this is so instructive here, because you made mention to the fact that in some quarters it is thought that, look, if the husband wants to have intercourse, that's the woman's responsibility, but
and he's right.
And he's right. But there again, in young people, their concept or their perception of intercourse is to mash it up. And I'm saying it raw. Because that's the kind of thing you hear. That kind of thing is influenced a lot by the kind of music we listen to. The kind of programs that we look at on television, and a lot of our young women think it is okay. They think it is okay.
So maybe the whole challenge is in creating healthy families, or healthy family environment, regardless of what the nature of the family is. Whether your family is you, your mother, and your grandmother, and your grandfather, or the family is you, your mother, and your auntie, them, and all the cousins. Or the family is a husband and wife and their children, right? Or the family is you and your mother, or your mother and your father, and you and your little cousin that lives with you. It doesn't really matter what the composition is. Whatever family, is a nuclear family or extended family, whatever. Maybe we have to go back to instilling values that are family values.
We've lost it. We've lost it. We've lost the values.
I'm not giving up yet, because I think there's hope. Because there's a group of young boys, Form 1s, that come to my office, because one of them related to me, and they'd come to my office and sit down and we talk things. And I've raised discussions with them. And at first you see them, everybody gets it. And I said, no, this is things I want you to talk about. I want you to be free. And I sit with these guys. They're 12 and 13, okay? And they're nice boys and they're bright, right? And I said to them, hey, how the girlfriend thing going? And everybody looked like they wanted dead. And I said, no, guess what? There's some real nice girls going to the school next to you. Really nice girls. right? And one that's that's related to me claimed that the girl take his phone and put her number in there. That's going to happen, and you have to teach them how to deal with it, right? You have to. And I said to them, "Hear me now. There's nothing wrong in being. It's just natural to be attracted to the opposite sex, but you have a responsibility as a man. You must respect them. You must not let them lead you, or you must not let your friends push you. Put peer pressure for you to do things that are not considered savory, for want of a better word, right? And maybe you really don't like the girl after the fact, but that's you and her business. You speak not of her when you're through. You do not look to abuse her physically, emotionally, or otherwise. And you do not disrespect her. When she leaves you, she leaves with her integrity intact. They're 12 years old. And we had the discussion after. Guys, I want you to understand this. You have to come out ahead of the group, else you guys are going to get lost.
Yes. Because it is a problem. It is a problem, and it starts at that age, and if they're not, it has to do also because so many of our fathers are missing, or so many of our fathers have missed the boat, right? It has to do with mentoring our young people, not just our boys, our girls as well, right? It has to do with making them feel that somebody cares, that all is good. Not that you get them a phone now, or that you give them things, because sometimes you think that's what mentoring is. No. Mentor is that capacity to develop yourself to your maximum potential, right? I've been there, done that. And I want to tell people, I grew up relatively comfortable. I never grew up rich. So even if people think I'm rich now, too bad. That's really a misconception. Doc, let's just take a quick final break, and we're going to come back until we get some questions from our listeners. Stay with us, folks. We'll be back with you in just a moment.
When you need your prescription. Pharmacy offers both wholesale and retail pharmaceutical and over-the-counter products. We have the most competitive and affordable prices. We are the agents for Vit Plus multivitamin for healthy everyday lifestyle and Sanatogen powder. Hills and Valley Pharmacy supplies the best quality, name brand clinical products such as Rescue Oil, Bio Oil, Neutrogena, Aveeno, and Clarisil. We offer the most convenient opening hours. Our telephone numbers are 435-6904 or 6903. Remember, at Hills and Valley Pharmacy, your health is our business. We care.
Now open, Hills and Valley Medicare Center, your one-stop for medical supplies, massage therapy, physiotherapy, and an in-house physician. At Hills and Valley, your health is our business.
How going on, boy?
Hey, good old things.
Hey, easy.
Yeah.
Boy, in line, boy. Your house looking a real good day.
Boy, it's thanks to the hard-working and professional staff at the Housing Authority of Grenada. They handled me real nice. They did my plan, they did the construction, and I didn't even have to worry about a thing. They were there with me every step of the way, supervising the job, asking me about my concerns, giving me feedback as the house took shape. They were there from start to finish, and even put the keys in the palm of my hand. I give them an A++ for customer service.
Oh, it's people from housing bad, boy.
Boy, not bad. Excellent. If you're thinking about constructing your home, why not consult the Housing Authority of Grenada? You could visit them right down in the Sandino complex, or give them a call, 440-1015 or 440-1016. Or check out their website, hag473.com. They go handle you. They go jog your blocks, they go draw your plan, they go tote your materials. Hey man, where you going? The Housing Authority of Grenada is your choice for affordable housing and a stress-free construction experience.
We shall fight them on the beaches. We shall defend our islands and our oceans. to rid our waterways of plastic and other marine litter. We shall fight in the mountains, the valleys, on the coastline. We shall never surrender until every home on every street in our cities, towns, and villages in the OACS learn to reuse, reduce, and recycle plastic and prevent the pollution of our beloved ocean. We shall fight marine litter together with our sports clubs, our churches, the private sector, our schools. Join the fight. We shall never surrender.
This message is brought to you by the OACS Commission with funding from the Government of Norway. Remlit, tackling ocean pollution from tooth to sooth.
Introducing Color by Sissons. 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 Color by Sissons.
Can you spend wisely and have more savings? Yes, you can. Learn more with Money Matters on GBN Television. The Money Matters series explores 12 top ways to save money. In this series, you would learn how to save by setting up your spending money right. Save on vehicle loans, home improvement projects, your credit cards, and even on prescription drugs. Tune in every Tuesday morning at 7:15 for Money Matters, a lighthearted conversation with financial planner Tali Francis. Follow the rebroadcast on Thursdays at 6:50 p.m. and on Sundays at 7:30 p.m. Money Matters is a financial literacy public awareness program sponsored by Republic Bank Grenada.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
GBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us number one. News at 7, live, Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11. K105.5 and 105.9, Hot 98.5 and 98.7, GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel, and www.gbn.gd. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere.
Welcome back, folks. Doctor and Call, and boy, Doc, time goes by so quickly. When you're sharing so much information. But folks, I tell you what, we will be continuing this this topic next week. We will continue because we do have quite a bit of information that we'd like to share with you. We don't want you to miss anything out of that, so we will continue. We probably only have time to take one or two quick calls. If we get them, we'll go with them. 435-2041, that's the number. So if anyone has any question they would like to ask Doc quickly, we can accommodate you right now. 435-2041, that's the number you can call. If not, Doc, we don't have much time remaining, so what I would like us to do...
There are two quick points I want to break. And one is that, and it was alluded to in the beginning, that women may have a little more difficulty. And remember, we have to think out of Grenada in accessing health services. So they don't have the time because they're too busy doing everything else that is work-related and gender-related because of how labor is divided as per gender, right? They may not have the funds because it just can't reach, right, where they need the funds. They not have the transport. You know, one of the things I advise all young women to do in the summer is learn to drive. Because I think being able to drive is a great skill, but it's also a skill that gives you a lot of independence. Go learn to drive. Please, young girls. You're 17 and you finish high school, go learn to drive on a holiday. I'm nothing else to do, go learn to drive. You'd be surprised at what a great skill it is. I learned it when I was 16 years old, right out of high school. My father taught me to drive. And I always think it's one of the greatest gifts my father gave me. I never had to wait for somebody to take me anywhere. Just don't like to drive, no. But as a young person, I was out on the road doing the things I needed to get done, right? And they may not have transport to get there, but there are a lot of cars around. There are, okay? There are a lot of vehicles around, okay? So, and often women who are so dedicated or so downtrodden, held down by their social circumstances, and because it is a gender behavior, they do not see health-seeking behavior as a priority. Take care of everybody else, except themselves. Don't be like, it's all right. It's all right. And by the time they go to the doctor, they have stage 3 breast cancer or cervical cancer, or the pressure's so high, or they turn up with a stroke, or the kidneys start functioning, the sugar's so bad, the vision start going. Because everybody's life is more important, because the woman is expected to take care of her, because that's how society's rules are. Okay? The other thing is that sometimes women's specific health issues are kind of neglected. We don't think of it, like I mentioned in the context before. So we forget to screen for cancers. We forget to screen for cervical cancer in women over 25. We forget to screen for breast cancer in women over 40. We forget to teach them about it. We forget to remind them. We forget to teach them about contraception, their general sexual health. We forget to teach them about depression and figure out whether a woman is depressed, right? We forget to ask questions of abuse. And especially now, we have to remember to not let the challenges that coronavirus has put on us make us neglect delivery of good health care for women. Because you might find that, a lot of the nurses have been dispersed into other services, but we still need to be doing our women's pap smears. We still need to be teaching them how to do their breast examination, okay? We still need to say, it's time for your mammogram. We still need to teach them how to maintain a diet and their weight so they don't develop diabetes and hypertension. We still need to make sure that there is medication when they come to the health center. I don't see you for 2 months. Hey, Miss Mary, where are you? What happened? I haven't seen you here for a little while. Right? We have to go out and make sure. You couldn't come to the clinic, make facilities so that somebody can drop off their medication for them. Right? We still have to take care of the women because of the vulnerability that gender division has put upon them. Okay? The fact also that they may not be as educated, especially all rural women. We have to look out for them. The women who are involved in agricultural work, we have to look out for them. We have to make sure that there are facilities that reach out to them, because they're still the backbone of the society. They may not make all the money, but they're the ones who sustain the society. Okay.
Doc, thank you so very much. Let me not say it's a pity, because we will be continuing next week.
10 o'clock.
Yes, time goes by. We will continue next week. And I want to encourage all our women and our men, very importantly, to be sure and join us next Tuesday evening at 8:35 for this special edition of Doctrine Call, where we focus on the importance of women's health. Men, you might be surprised to know the important role we play in the health of our women. So be sure to join us next week, and we'd like to hear from you. Hopefully we should be having Mrs. Brown with us next week, because we also want to focus on the aspect of nutrition, which is a very important aspect of health. So Doc, again, thank you so very much, and I can't wait for next Tuesday evening for us to continue this very, very important,
So hopefully we can look at the challenges through the life cycle. Girls, what challenges they have, how we fix it, how it can be fixed, right? There's another thing we are talking about earlier tonight about fixing the the home environment. We're going to have to fix our society.
Yes,
We
yes,
are going
indeed.
to have to fix our society and create a society of responsible and loving people. It's some utopic, but it's not far. We're going to have to, the church is going to have to do its role, and the Girl Guides movement, and wherever it is going to have to see, look, here are our challenges. Do we have as big Girl Guide movements? Maybe not. Whatever groups in the church, we have to look and see how are women keeping her. The church has to look out for women because the church is mostly populated by women. We know that.
Yes.
So hopefully they too can see their role in how do we empower and ensure that our women can overcome the social challenges and the gender challenges that make them more prone
and more vulnerable. Yes, yes.
More vulnerable. And you know, it's funny though, because women tend to live a little longer because women are actually so resilient.
Yes, indeed.
If you have that resilience in an environment of good care and stuff, the whole population would live a whole lot longer.
Mm-hmm.
So let's strive towards
and you know, as an extension, Doc, they would be able to better take care of us. And I'm talking about
That's
men.
the point. So we go all
I'm
of us
talking
will
about
live
men.
longer.
Yes. Anyway, Doc, thank you very much. We're looking forward to next Tuesday. Folks, thank you very much. That's our program for this week. Don't forget, next Tuesday, we continue Abundant Life for our women. Be sure to join us. Do have a good night. All the best.
Night, everybody.